Battlecry of Freedom by Ngakma Nor'dzin.
Part 2, the slogans. Slogan 46. Practice so that the three do not deteriorate.
Nyampa mepa nam sumgom.
Do not let the three deteriorate. Relationship with the teacher, engagement with practice, and the joyful appreciation of every aspect of riding the mind. At times I allowed the riding instructor to overrule my rationale in a lesson. I would engage in an equestrian activity that seemed unsafe or beyond my ability because of my confidence in the teacher. This could be riding without stirrups or riding without reins, closing my eyes to experience the rhythm of the horse, practicing a demanding exercise, jumping a fence or log that seemed too big, or any number of equestrian activities. When my instructor had the confidence in me as a rider to ask me to perform a difficult or challenging activity, it was essential to trust the teacher and embrace the activity without doubt or fear. It is the same in mind training. This slogan urges practitioners to nurture the three principal causes: the teacher, the path of practice, and conducive circumstances. Having developed a relationship with the teacher, embrace the path of practice, and establish the circumstances that enable practice, keep them. Nurture them so that they are continually held as the cause of awakening.
Ngakpa says, devotion could sound too subtle, too abstruse to understand. But the same phenomena exists in the world of the arts. Almost anyone can enjoy world-class music, but only a proficient musician can know the worth of a world-class musician. The greater your musical ability, the more astonishing a master musician becomes. Mozart is a composer of extremely pretty melodies until you learn enough about music to understand his compositions. J.S. Bach is a composer of marvellously intricate sonic adventures until you learn something about contrapuntal composition.
To embrace the vision of the instructor in such a way and have trust in the instructor is called devotion in Buddhism.
Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche says, the first thing you should not let wane is devotion. The second thing you should not let wane is a delightful attitude towards Lojong, or the taming of your mind. And the third thing you should not let wane is your conduct.
The teachings and methods of mind training are the path to awakening. There must be a willingness to embrace them and to let go of the domination of conditioned view and rationale. Doubt should be discussed with the teacher, but eventually Vajrayana students have to relinquish personal rationale. Personal rationale has to be relinquished on the basis of learning faith rather than emotional faith. When one has confidence in the teacher, through the experience of following instructions, one can take a leap into the unknown that is logical. Some aspects of mind training have more to do with the sphere of magic than the sphere of logical reasoning. The intellect can only take understanding so far. From the perspective of the intellect, fully embracing the journey to awakening takes a leap into the unknown and the unknowable. For this, the teacher's guidance and advice has to be entertained experientially. Then devotion arises and the relationship with the teacher is recognized as beyond price, so that the strong intention is established to never allow it to deteriorate.
Ngakchen Rinpoche says, it's not a matter of learning how to behave well on principle. Behaving badly with regard to the Lama has to be impossible. It has to be as impossible as grinding your own body away with a meat grinder which requires that you turn the handle yourself. A less extreme description would be doubting that money had value and believing that nothing could be bought with money. Once having spent money, you would know that goods could be purchased with it. There would be no doubt.
When the methods offered by the teacher have been embraced, experience develops in their efficacy. The student becomes devoted to the methods of practice as well as to the teacher who offers them. Then the methods of practice are recognized as beyond price, so that the strong intention is established to never allow them to deteriorate. Practicing becomes a loved and appreciated activity, just as climbing into the saddle to set out on the trail was always looked forward to and enjoyed. When performing a difficult or challenging equestrian activity, through devotion to the instructor and trust in the method, the relationship with the horse is also an important factor. The horse would be the conducive circumstances in that instance. My confidence in a jumping lesson or my willingness to work without stirrups for an hour would depend on the horse I was given. Most instructors were sympathetic to the need for the right horse for the task of the lesson and knew which horses were reluctant to jump or difficult to sit. D was a conducive circumstance in a jumping lesson because she would jump anything and everything. She was not the ideal mount for a lesson without stirrups, being quite bouncy at the trot and not particularly broad in the back. Nevertheless, in terms of my embracing the challenge of sitting trot without stirrups and improving my posture and balance as a rider, she was still a conducive circumstance if I was willing to rise to the challenge, more so than a broader-backed and less bouncy mount. When practicing mind training, conducive circumstances that support practice must be valued as beyond price, so that the strong intention is established to never allow them to deteriorate.